Hello and welcome to my new video series, Mastering Nakhmanson Gambit. The Nakhmanson Gambit is an opening for White that recently become quite some famous because of Jonathan Schrantz, who played it on his Twitch stream Vampirechicken several times with success. So before we start the analyze and talking about the Gambit itself, I just want to give him a big shout out. Thank you, Jonathan, for sharing your games with us. They were a huge inspiration for me to make this video course, and I really enjoyed watching them. So you may ask, what is the Nakhmanson Gambit? And just to let you know what the Nakhmanson Gambit is, I just want to show you briefly the starting position of the Gambit. It must be said that the Gambit itself can be reached by several move orders, but it is mainly assigned to the Italian game, so I want to stick with the move order e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop c4, the starting position of the Italian game, knight to f6, the starting position of the two knights defense, d4, e takes d4, castling, knight takes e4, and in this position the main move is rook to e1, and this was analyzed by thousands of grandmasters and thousands of books, and was actually also played in many top grandmaster games. So yeah, this is the absolute main line, but there's a rare sideline only a few players know even about it, and this is the move knight to c3. I really checked some books, and many books doesn't even cover the move, so this is a quite rare move. And I mean, when I saw this move the first time, I was like, what? Isn't White just simply blundering a piece? And well, if Black accepts the knight, White goes even further and just sacrifices another piece and plays bishop takes f7 check. And in this moment I was like, whoa, that's actually quite good, isn't it? I mean, this looks pretty genius. And if you're still not knowing what I'm talking about, well, I just want to show you some more moves to get an understanding why this could actually be pretty good, you know? If Black really takes the bishop, then we have queen to d5 check, and let's say Black plays the most logical move, king to e8, then you have rook to e1, and you have a pretty simple plan. I already made some arrows for you. You will take the knight on e4 with the rook, you will bring your bishop to g4, and you will bring your second rook to e1. And by playing these three moves, you manage to activate all of your pieces. Your queen will be active, your rook will be active, your bishop will be active, your other rook will be active, and your knight will be active. And all pieces are attacking Black's king, who can no longer castle. And I mean, even if I'm not saying that this is totally sound, I really have to say this is much fun. I mean, come on. If you're in an online blitz game and you would gain such a position, I really cannot help you if you wouldn't enjoy this position, you know? This is the kind of position every chess player who likes the old-fashioned games really has to enjoy, you know? So you may ask, well, okay, this looks quite good and I'm hyped up now, but is this really that good? Well, let's go back to the starting position of the Nakhmanson Gambit. The Nakhmanson Gambit isn't totally sound. This is the truth. I think that if Black will accept the Gambit, then you will gain a pretty fun chess game. You will attack Black's king, you will really open up the lines, and you will have the fun while Black is only defending. And I would go so far to say that this, in a practical game, is probably nearly always one for you as White. So I wouldn't fear to play this variation even in an over-the-board game. But the problem with the Nakhmanson Gambit is that Black has many ways to decline the Gambit in a way that he will remain with being a pawn up and having a superior position. For example, he has the move knight takes c3, he has the move d5, and he has the move knight to d6. So if you're a professional player or want to become a professional player, you probably shouldn't play this variation too often, because as soon as the first games by you are in the database, your opponents will prepare against the Nakhmanson Gambit and you will have a hard time. But the question is always, why are you playing chess? And the reason I play chess is because of fun, and So I wouldn't mind to play this gambit in an over-the-board game in a classical match, but I wouldn't do it in every game, you know. But it's definitely a really fun line to play in online chess games, and this is why I made this video course for you, and I really hope that you will enjoy it. So before I will show you what awaits you in the course, I just want to show you a little move order stuff, you know. As I already told you, there are many ways to reach the position. You could also go for bishop c4 in the second move, and this is actually the move order that Jonathan prefers, because after knight to f6, d4, e takes d4, knight s3, he really hopes that black takes the pawn on e4 so that he can go into his beloved Heroes of Gambit. But if black will decline the gambit, then it's most likely that he plays knight to c6, and then he could just simply play castling, and after knight takes e4, he just simply can go in the Nakhmanson Gambit by playing knight to c3. So this is also an option to go into the Nakhmanson Gambit, and if you're a second bishop to c4 player, then this is probably the way you want to go for it. And I also want to mention that after knight to f3, if black plays knight to f6, you still could try to go for the Nakhmanson Gambit by playing bishop to c4. But truth must be told, I wouldn't recommend you to do so, because a good Petrov's defense player would play knight takes e4, and this is already considered to be a little bit better for black. But of course, especially on lower level, the move knight to c6 is pretty common, and so you're just back into the two knights defense, and after d4, e takes d4, castling, knight takes e4, and knight to c3, you're back into your Nakhmanson Gambit. So this is it about the move order stuff, and now let's talk about the next videos. So in video 1, I will present you what will happen if black accepts the gambit, and after bishop takes f7, king takes f7, and queen to d5, black plays the move king to e8, or he plays one of the really bad moves, king to e7 or king to g6. King to g6 and king to e7, as I already mentioned, are big blunders that loses the game right immediately for black, so they are nothing you have to fear, but I just wanted to include them so that you know what you can do against them. And king to e8 is probably the most logical move for a human player, but here white will really gain a nice attack by playing rook to e1, rook takes e4, bishop g5, and rook to e1, as I already showed you earlier in this video. So this is the absolute main line, and you really have to know this by heart. In the third video, I will show you what will happen if black plays the move king to f6. This move looks a little bit dumb at the first moment, but it's actually the engine's favorite, and to be totally honest, if black finds some only moves, then he will remain with being a pawn up and a superior position. But let's face it, king f6 is such an ugly looking move. A human in an over-the-board game would really never play this move. I mean, why does he want to go with his king into the attack? And he really has to find some only moves just to stay into the game, because it's just like you find the only move that wins, or every other move will lose the game, you know? So I really doubt that the human will play this, because without the help of an engine, this is probably not possible to play for a human, you know? But of course we have to cover it, because if people start preparing for you, then they will find this line and will try to learn it. But I really wouldn't be too concerned about this variation, because think about it from a practical point of perspective. If someone really wants to prepare for the Nakhmanson Gambit, and then he knows that in a game he doesn't have the help of his engine, so he would probably try to learn one of the declined variations instead of this variation. But of course, it's a pretty strong move compared to the engine, and so I have to cover it, and so I do in video 3. So while the accepted gambits are quite fun for white, because he's the one who's attacking and have all the fun, we come now to the declined variations. In video 4, I will show you the absolute main line in the declined variations, and this is knight takes c3. And I also will cover the move d5. I don't think that we have to fear the move d5, because here I think I found a nice way for white to gain an equal position, and if black isn't precise, then he may even get in some trouble. So this is not the problem, but knight takes c3 is a pretty good move for black, and I will cover this in video 4. And in video 5, I will cover the move knight to d6. This move was only rarely played in practical games, but I believe that this could become the next mainline because it's the engine's favorite, and it has a pretty simple idea. It protects the pawn on f7, it attacks the bishop on c4, and the knight on c3 is still attacked. So this may look a little bit troublesome for white, and to be honest, if white plays all the best moves, then he still will being down a pawn in the end, so that I think black's just simply better. But as I already told you, until now this line is still quite uncommon, so you probably won't face it too often. But of course, if people start preparing for the Nakhmanson Gambit, then they will check the engine, and this is the absolute engine's favorite move, so they will come across this move, and yeah. So we have to cover it, and I will do so in video 5. In video 6, I will show you some tactics. In all these variations I covered, there are possibilities to go wrong for black. And whenever I come across a nice tactical shot in a game, then I made a picture out of it and put it into the puzzle. And you can find all these puzzles in my Leecher study. I will put the link down below in the video description. You will also find all the analysis for all the variations of my videos I will do. And it's all free, so just go there, check it out, have some fun, and click the heart button if you're a Leecher's member, so that other people get a chance to see the study as well. So yeah, I would say enough talk. Let's just jump right into the analysis, right? So see you in part 2 of my video series, Master in Nakhmanson Gambit.